8th of January 2015. What was promised? The promise was to create good governance and establish a system where your money, the public money, will be monitored. And that is the change that was envisaged by the people of this country. 1.5 years from now, is this taking place? Last year in December, there was a new Auditor General. The 41st Auditor General of Sri Lanka has a history of over 200 years. Where is your money being spent? How is it being spent? What sort of investigations are taking place? With me this evening is the Auditor General himself, the 41st Auditor General of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Mr. Gamli Jaisingh. A very good evening and welcome to the show, Mr. Jaisingh. Starting off, tell us a little bit about the role of the Auditor General's department in the island.
Auditor General department is one of the special department in Sri Lanka, and that main role of the department is to investigate and audit all those government institutions. There are more than 1,500 institutions in Sri Lanka, 1,545 institutions in Sri Lanka, and all those institutions are concerned. We have to prepare annual another report to see whether that money has been allocated by the government has been used properly, and if there is any mistakes or any misuse, things like that, all the reports should be tabled in the parliament. That's the main role.
You do also provide recommendations in respect of the reports that you submit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Jaisingh?
Yes, of course, that when you study, then investigate those audit works, and if there is any deviation from the circulars and laws and things in the country, so that also to be reported. At the same time, if you feel that something to be corrected, that recommendation also be tabled to the parliament.
30 years in the public service sector, Mr. Jaisingh, in the Inland Revenue Department, now as the Auditor General himself, how challenging has your role been so far? 6 months into the job, not an easy task.
Of course, but for last 30 years, I know, even working in the Department of Inland Revenue and the Director General of Accounting and Standard Monitoring Board, that same field. And when I was in the even Inland Revenue, I worked a lot with the accounts of the all largest companies and all the government institutions who pays taxes. So in the subject wise, it's not a big issue, but problem is the governance issue in the country today, and there are so many issues take place for last 10 to 15 years, and as how to face those problem, and how whether that position to be maintained in the when you table this report in the parliament, and which parts to be report, and how the recommendation can be developed. That was the big challenge, because as you know that there are so low laws and regulation, most are outdated in Sri Lanka. So based on that, to maintain current situation is one of the big challenge for the whole public sector. So Auditor General is in between. So people say that no, this is, we can't accept this law, we can't adhere to this law. This law is outstanding, outdated. So but at the same time, Auditor General can't listen to that type of questions, because his responsibility is to see whether that all the officers and all concerned, they are properly adhere to the system.
Mr. Jaisingh, you just said that there have been governance issues in the country over the last 10 to 15 years. How independent is the role of the Auditor General in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, well, that also another issue that has been discussing for last 10-15 years, and concerning of the actual role of the Auditor General, pure independency in respect of administration, in respect of financial involvement in the Auditor General itself, and the reporting concern is very much debatable. So that's why that lobby has been developed day by day, and all the relevant parties decided to have a new audit act and new commission, and in that basis Auditor General to be completely keep as independent person.
Are you independent?
After implementing this Act and Audit Service Commission, yes.
You are independent. Previous allegations that have been leveled against the previous government with regard to corruption, with regard to swindling money in terms of state institutions, how do you intend to tackle this problem, Mr. Auditor General?
Well, I don't like to talk with the regime, but I like to talk with the years. So the general report goes by the year basis.
Let's talk about the years. Yes. Let's talk about the last 10 years, Mr. Jason, if that's the case.
Yes, so that every year we file all those reports, and we have seen a lot of things going a little bit moving out of the proper system. It may be issue of the acceleration of the system, or maybe issue of the people who handle the money and the big position. Those has been seen everywhere. But still, Auditor General has no any choice rather than reporting what has happened in the country and with the all those institutions. So all those has been properly based on the information what we have gathered on the especially in sample base, and basically in the risk base has been reported to the Parliament.
Mr. Jason, you just said that the acceleration of the systems, acceleration of the work that was carried out may have given rise to what happened during the last 10 years. Does that mean that there was corruption within the government ranks in 1,545 companies or state institutions that come under the purview of the Auditor General's department?
That's why I explain when something doing some additional speed rather than that normal speed. Some thing may be going little bit deviation from the system, but still that is completely based on the different government policy. So the government as a policy to be decide whether what is the acceleration, whether this acceleration is necessity for different type of project, and if it is a very essential project or it is not essential, things like that to be developed. At the same time, based on that, they can develop further systematic systems, so that system may be some extent deviation from the what we are thinking about the traditional system of the government institution that has been happening.
The role of the Auditor General's department has come into question, in particular in the last 1.5 years, Mr. Jason. Why? With the appointment of various commissions and various committees. We see this in the Sri Lankan Airlines issue. We saw the J.C. Vellaman report very clearly indicating that there was corruption at Sri Lankan Airlines, which gave rise to the losses that have been made by the institution in the last few years. Was the Auditor General's department sleeping, or was it the Parliament which was sleeping when so much of reports have been submitted by your organization on Sri Lankan Airlines over the last few years? Who is not fulfilling the role?
Actually, I think it is one misunderstanding, because Auditor General has never done any report in respect of Lanka. because it is not coming under Auditor General's purview. So that's I saw one of the high rank officer also explained that why if there is a loss like this, Auditor General, what did he do? So it has not come yet that under 19th amendment only it comes to the Auditor General purview. So we are also in trouble, and we say that regarding that especially with all these huge losses that accounts has been declared that the going concern is there. So going concern will be there, but there must be somebody should be taken that responsibility to settle those losses that they incurred continuously for last 20 years. So we know that government has taken that responsibility, but I don't know whether it is true, whether it has been taken with the proper documentation. So now we are starting thinking about that. Now next year we have to issue a report by Auditor General.
The 19th Amendment to the Constitution gave rise to the introduction of the Audit Service Commission, which you are now the chairman since November 2015, and the draft audit bill also is now being discussed very extensively, Mr. Vijay. So many laws in the country. Do we need another piece of legislation in Sri Lanka to govern our systems?
This is one of unique another piece of regulation that is to keep that develop that independence of the Auditor General, not anything else. It has been covered only that limited scope, especially how to administer the Auditor General's department, and how to develop that financial independence of the Auditor General department. At the same time, through new amendments, if there is any actions against the people who were doing wrong thing and no corruption, something, if there is any action has been taken, that Commission has given all the powers to maintain that check and balances of the appellant company is concerned.
How confident are you that this legislation, the draft audit bill, which will be enacted into a law very soon, will also not be kept in one of these shelves that I'm seeing right now and not being implemented? How confident are you?
No, it's actually going on, and there are a little bit discussion and debates going on.
I'm asking this question, Mr. Wilson, in particular because you have the Act which is being governed with regard to your institution in question, the Auditor General's Department. It very clearly states that a surcharge has to be imposed whenever there is a discrepancy, but in the last 15 years, nothing has been done. Why is this?
So that power has not been prevailed with the Auditor General.
You had the power before.
That chief accounting officers and accounting officers in the government sector.
And this draft bill will give you the power to impose a surcharge?
Yeah, some extent that if Auditor Generals think is one of the surchargeable issue, so then the powers has been vested with the Auditor General.
Right now, you have the legal right to investigate a state institution, but don't have the right to take legal action. The new bill, the new act, will it be something of this sort?
No, anyway, the legal action is completely again vested with the normal court system. The Auditor General has power only to issue the certificate saying that such as to be charged based on that investigation. So again, that procedure is same way going on, but there is no court power has been given to the Auditor General. That's wrong interpretation.
At least to file a case in the courts, Do you have the right to do that?
No, even that is not there. We just want to issue that certificate of then system is developed at same.
Now you said that you all investigate 1,545 or look into 1,545 state institutions. I know you've just taken the helm as the Auditor General right now since December. It's too early for you to investigate all 1,545. Do you see corruption in any of the state institutions?
Yes, of course. That's why that's why system is going on with all the investigation in Bible Commission and FCI, all those institutions. No? So basically, those institutions also rely materially rely on the Auditor General's report. So we have, if you find a lot of that type of action, we report that to the Parliament, and they can take that report and can start that investigation, because Auditor General doesn't have that legal power. The Auditor General can only investigate and report to the Parliament up to now.
You are the watchdog in terms of the country's public accounts, in terms of the state institutions. A dog without teeth, a fisherman without a rod.
Yes.
So is it really useful to be the Auditor General taking into the present context, Mr. J. Singha?
Well, that barking also giving a lot of effect, no? Without teeth, yes. So that is why there's so many different angles to see that role of the Auditor General. So you know that today that especially media doing a big role. No, do you have any legal power? No, media don't have, but still media is so powerful, because getting something to the surface and giving that effect, giving a lot of things. So what the general reports also saying, we bring that into the surface. So taking action is somebody's responsibility.
Mr. Singha, let's put in a hypothetical example right now. Let's say you are a genie, or you are made the president of the country for one day. What changes would be made to the Auditor General's department?
Of course, the change now proposed. So that's the one actually we need to, being a Auditor General or being a layman, being a citizen, I think that the independency of the Auditor General must be looked into and to be developed. Then at least we can get that clear report, that what is happening to the people money and what is happening, whether that investment of the government has been made properly after thinking of the value addition, so value for money concept. At the same time, that the money has been utilized to safeguard the environmental of this country. So you know that there are so many cases have been taken up now that the environmental issues is very critical. So that part also to be looked into in future by the Auditor General. So that responsibility must be given.
1,545 institutions, and you have approximately 1,700 people working with you full time, and then there are close to 200 people that is working at local government institutions in terms of providing information to the Auditor General's department. Sufficient staff? Not enough?
Especially audit is one of the biggest area doing by the sample testing. So it completely based on the sample what you are going to look into. That's again depend on the institutional background of the all those institutions and country. So if that institutional background properly developed, so we can reduce our staff, because we don't want to go ahead with a higher sample test. So even now we do that basis of sampling test, and especially we have directions for the financial audit. But in future concern, we are going to turn that directions, rather than doing financial audit. We must mainly try to rely on the strengthening internal audit system, and then we move further forward and to get that performance audit and the value for money audit and environmental audit. So then again we have to rethink whether the staff is sufficient, the card is sufficient, and etc. I think there's a
Singh, we spoke about the last 10-15 years, and you very clearly said that there may have been corruption, and that is why individuals are summoned to the FCID, that the commission is taking actions, and even now a case has been filed as we speak right now against a former UPFA parliamentarian by the Bribery Commission itself. 1.5 years now, this government has been in power. Is there corruption at state institutions? You are the Auditor General, 6 months into your job. Do you think there is good governance, or is there corruption taking place? We got your letter of appointment from the President himself. I'm sure you won't fear anyone in the government right now because you said that your role is independent. Is there corruption taking place right now as you speak?
Yeah, that's why I said that we don't want to talk about the regime and years, and we are going based on the years. Yes.
This year, 6 months, 2016, it's been 5 months now. Is there corruption?
Yeah, we start this year audit work now. That report is coming forward these days, and especially still we are in the 2015 audit work. So based on that, we have strengthened our situations to find out whether there is any changes, things like that, and very soon we will make our report about that this year also, and you can see then.
My parliamentary correspondent, who is a very senior man, Amar Bandara, told you before a short while ago that you see the Auditor General's department report in 15 to 16 books 2 weeks prior or 3 weeks prior to the budget. Because all parliamentarians read 15 to 16 books. Mr. Auditor General, do they really go through all these 15 to 16 books with the seal embedded on the back page of your report? Do they go through it? Why not make a file with around 12-15 pages giving a summary of what exactly is taking place? Why 15 to 16 books? No one is going to read it.
Of course, we do that practice also from this year. So we start that this COPA last 5 months. So we start that practice and prepare another summary report and discuss. Start with that summary report, and that practice. Of course, I agree with you, and I don't think that anybody can read such a big document, even not in the parliament. Even anybody like to read that type of thing.
For that matter, I don't even know whether the parliamentarians now in parliament would even understand what is written on that particular report in question, Mr. Singh. Anyway, moving on. The Public Accounts Commission and the CORE has a big role to play with regard to the reports that you submit. They do make recommendations, they make a big ha-ho in parliament, there are debates taking place, but no legal action. Why? Do you think politicians are protecting their fellow politicians in parliament? And they're fooling the people who voted them in?
Well, that again, based on the law and all the orders remain in the country, and Parliament recent 2-3 months old is COPA and COPA discuss this issue what you said now, and I suppose that they have to take further a lot of decision, especially they discuss matters about the standing orders issue and whether some standing orders to be further developed to take action like that. But that discussion also give a lot of effect, I'm sure, because we know that we call all the institution, all the head of the department, and explain that what has happened inside the those institution and the way to be developed when Auditor General's concept of development, things like that. A lot of discussion is going on that gives a lot of effect. At the same time, as you said, that something missing, so that I think they have to develop, and it's not my role.
Mr. Dhamendra Singh, the 41st Auditor General of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. You've heard about the Panama Papers. You've heard definitely about the Global Financial Integrity Report. If I ask you a question about regimes, you would say I cannot respond, so I'm going to ask you by ears. The Global Financial Integrity Report indicates that 90 billion rupees or $90 billion have been swindled out of the country between 2004 and 2013. Again, I am not mentioning any one's regime, nor am I mentioning the government which was in power. And the Panama Papers indicate that during a 4-decade period, a lot of money has been swindled out of the country in terms of offshore companies. Now, you've also been involved, and as you said before, 30 years in the Inland Revenue Department. Drawing your experience in terms of the situation right now at hand about people, politicians swindling out money out of the country, how do you do and how do you want to arrest this situation as the Auditor General's Department?
Actually, in being the Auditor General, it is not a big role because it's not covered to my view about the Panama Papers. But still, as you said, that if the why Inland Revenue has not been tackled those I agree with that issue, because the department even has not properly expanded to cover it up that area. So I worked in the Inland Revenue last 30 years, and out of that 30 years I worked in the international side and all the that issue of the money laundering and all those areas. So there are big lag behind the Inland Revenue in that respect. So laws to be developed and transfer pricing area to be further developed to cope up that type of thing, and powers to be further developed in the Inland Revenue. But as you said, there are something missing, so that should be
Mr. Gandhi, you just said something missing, so I'm going to rephrase the question that I asked you before. I asked you before, if you were a genie or if you were the president of the country, what changes would you make? Now you say that something is missing, so I'm going to rephrase my question again. Let's say you have the power to change the laws of the country. Let's say you have the power to change everything within just one day, 24 hours. What would you change in Sri Lanka? Not just your Auditor General's Department. Yeah. There's something missing, so what would you change? You have all the power. Let's take a hypothetical example. You have all the power, you just have a magic wand in your hand, you just go a few rounds and do that, you have it fulfilled. What would you do?
So firstly, I try to use that power to change people's mindset. So that's the main problem, because people are 20 years back of the that present situation. At the same time, people think about the themselves. Nobody is worried about the country today. So that's why this is the main problem. So they don't care about the law. They don't care about the what you owe to the country, what should you pay to the government based on the law. So that's why even Panama paper issues. So can they use such a big money? No, but still they collect it. No. So that's a problem. That issue to be arrested first. So
you have one wish granted. You have two more wishes to be granted. You said you have changed the people's mindset. You have two more wishes. What would you do?
And then that law should be updated in this country, because most of the law is outdated. So that's one of the biggest issue. Then that system of selecting our people to control this country also to be addressed. That's also another one issue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gandhi Singh, for your thoughts. Thank you very much again for joining us this evening. I hope and pray you will be appointed as a genie, just taking 3 wishes to hand and changing the mindset, changing the laws of the country, and ensuring that the right people are appointed to the legislature of this country. Where is your public money going? You have all the right to know. Thank you very much. Take care and have a pleasant week ahead.